Hi, everybody, and welcome to 5 Minutes with John and Mark. John, we're looking at mindfulness in terms of managing people in this particular session. I'll just set the scene for us, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So at Goodfoot, we work on the pyramid that we've devised, and mainly driving towards developing execs that can develop an absolutely superb culture. But of course, the foundation of all this, personal skills, management skills, leadership skills, what's the foundation? And that's this sense of well-being within the staff and our people to enable us to get a really good, strong desire for people to do their best. And John, mindfulness and managing people mindfully is absolutely part of that, right?
Yeah, 100%, Mark. As you know, mindfulness is a passion of mine. It's something that I've studied and practiced for many years. I'm a mindfulness-based stress reduction practitioner, which means that I've been trained in a robust model of mindfulness intervention therapy, which can be used in the workplace and for individuals. John Kabat-Zinn talks about mindfulness is about being present non-judgmentally in the moment. And how do we look at that, in the workplace? I think that it's got lots of connotations for how we are at work, particularly when we look at being conscious. There's terms of like conscious leadership, being present with staff, and I think that businesses, because they recognize the power of mindfulness to be used practically in a business, they're embracing it. So I think it's a great topic we're covering today.
Yeah, and I'm thinking actually really good leaders have always been mindful, haven't they? If we're managing our people, a good manager and a good leader has always been mindful of their people's particular traits and what motivates them. So in terms of tips, one of the tips that I've learned over the years is if we are mindful of the longer term aims and ambitions of the people that we work with, we tend to build better relationships, because we're not just talking about crises, firefighting, but we're being mindful of the progress that people want to make through the job for career, of course, but also the social life they have and where they want to go, where they eventually want to end up being in their life. And the more we can be mindful about long term with people and how they are thinking long term. And that mindfulness is just thinking about it, isn't it? It's just the thinking about the people that I work with. What do they want long term individually? And that would be my tip number one.
Yeah, no, very interesting. As you were talking, Mark, I was thinking, we talk about unconscious bias, as part of the training that gets delivered, and I think that also lends itself to to the mindful practice, being aware of our thoughts and how they impact upon us. And I think, like you said, good leaders have always done that. They've always been aware. They've always been present with people. They've always had a focus on how connected they are to people around them. But that wasn't going to be my tip.
It's good enough.
That was just a ramble. My tip was going to be around if we're going to manage people remotely, which I think we're in this hybrid working space, is about bringing awareness to people remotely, taking the time to listen to what they say. Make sure that you're actually looking at them on the screen, and I would say taking the time to really slow down even before a meeting, making sure you don't have your phones or emails popping up. Suspend those things so that you can be present with your staff, so that you can be present with people, so you can form that connection. It's a bit harder online.
No, that's neat, and I think you're right. That's what gels for me, is that people that are good with people are mindful naturally about what's happening with each individual around them. They're thinking about it.
Yeah.
And one of the things my brother gave me this advice. My brother lives in Mexico, in a place near a beach. He hasn't done a lot of heavy work in his life, bits and bobs. He hasn't got a lot of money, and he's probably the happiest person I've ever come across. And he says he gets around how do you get around the world with a smile? He says, just get around with a smile, and that makes life work. A very simple philosophy, but being mindful of what makes our people smile, I think, is very powerful. I think of the team that we work with, John, and different things make the different individuals break out into a smile. And being mindful of what provokes that, or what brings that smile into the workplace, is very powerful, because of course that changes the whole demeanor, the attitude, you know, the motivation, the output, therefore commitment levels, the extra effort people put in because of that. So yeah, be mindful of what makes people smile. Think about that. And I picked that up from my brother, and I hope we use that back at Goodfoot. But I think it's a very powerful thing to do.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's anything more to say than 100% agree.
So thanks. This was John and Mark. We look forward very much to seeing you next time. Thanks for joining us on this topic of mindfulness as a manager. Thank you.